Atheism is a joke with no punchline, told by a comedian who's about to get booed off stage. Some of you are too young to remember atheism before the circus clowns took over and spray-painted the new atheism down the side of that crazy train. But believe it or not, atheists in the 1980s and 1990s weren't nearly as angry as they've been in recent years. And they didn't usually care a whole lot about what other people believed. The general atheist attitude when I was growing up was, look, if believing in Jesus and the Bible and heaven somehow helps you, I'm not your boss. You have fun in church. And go ahead and say a prayer for me if that makes you happy. What do I care? There were, of course, some aggressive atheists, the kind that made people wonder, how are these guys so perpetually enraged at someone they don't believe exists? But there were barely enough of them to be annoying. Atheists back then got along with Christians. They had friendly conversations with Christians. They didn't lose their minds whenever anyone disagreed with them about anything. They didn't spend every waking moment posting, "Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy." In fact, if you're an atheist today, and you were somehow able to jump into a time machine fueled by 1.21 jerkawatts of narcissistic personality disorder, and you traveled back in time to 1985, and you told an atheist from 1985 that in the future, atheists are going to spend all their time on social media typing, "Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy." That 1985 atheist is going to ask you what social media is, and then he's going to throw his Dungeons and Dragons dice right in your face and tell you to get a life. So, what happened to atheism? Who fed that cute little mugwai after midnight and then poured Miracle Grow and Red Bull all over the gremlin? I'll tell you exactly what happened. And once you understand the rise of the new atheism, you'll see why its run is coming to an end and why Christians are about to have not one, but two fun new arguments against atheism. So let's discuss the new atheism's explosive growth since the early 2000s, its failed predictions, our fun new arguments, and the future of atheism. Why did the new atheism become so popular after the 9/11 attacks? 3 reasons. First, Westerners were jolted out of their tolerant slumber by a series of attacks carried out by people screaming Allahu Akbar. The new atheists used these attacks to say, see, this is what religion does. Science flies you to the moon. Religion flies you into buildings. But they didn't just send people into a panic over Islam. They also said, and don't think that other religions are much better. Christians are about to elect leaders who are going to impose Christianity on the rest of us. Christians are about to use democracy to end science and to establish a Christian theocracy. And the only way to stop it is for millions of people to leave Christianity and become atheists. So the new atheists saw that people were alarmed. They used that alarm to send people into a panic about religion in general. Second, the emergence of social media allowed the new atheists to use a certain low-level manipulation tactic on a global scale. What's the manipulation tactic? Something we've seen over and over again in various forms for many centuries. The basic formula is, join this group and you're better than everyone else in some significant way. We see this constantly from the Dawa gangs. Their message is, if you join Islam, you're strong. If you don't, you're weak. Look at us, we're strong. Other people are little weaklings. The new atheists did the exact same thing, but their message was, if you join us, you're smart. If you don't, you're a stupid religitard. What do you want to be? A super smart atheist or a super dumb religitard? You want to be smart? Great. Then join us, and you can make fun of religious people and feel smart. You can even come to the next Reason rally, where we sit around and pat ourselves on the back for being so into science. This is pathetic, but the movement had the advantage of social media. They got to use this approach on billions of people, and millions of people fell for it. We want to be smart, so we'll join your group. What do we have to do now? Oh, just spend every waking moment making fun of people with Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy. And that makes us smart? Yeah, that makes you smart. Sure does, doesn't it? Third, because of the first two factors, panic and manipulation, the new atheism became what we might call evangelical atheism. There was a strong emphasis on winning converts. Not all ideologies strive to convert people. Christianity does, Islam does. Atheism didn't much until the new atheism took over. Then atheists became obsessed with getting the entire world to agree with them, which really makes no sense from an atheist perspective. Christians proselytize because these are matters of eternal significance in Christianity. Muslims proselytize because these are matters of eternal significance in Islam. Why would atheists suddenly care so much about convincing everyone to agree with their worldview? Well, if atheism is the only thing that can save the world from religion, then salvation is found only in atheism. So preach, Brother Dawkins, preach, Brother Hitchens, preach, Brother Harris. Atheism became evangelical. They promised a kind of salvation, the salvation of the world. And by taking advantage of people's growing concerns over religion and using social media to amplify a simple manipulation tactic, millions of people joined the new atheism. But there were three problems which led to the eventual decline of the new atheism. First, the new atheists had an absurdly simplistic view of the world. Religion is bad, so get rid of religion. It rarely crossed their minds to have a deeper understanding of the various roles a religion plays in a society. The closest parallel I can think of to this simplistic thinking is in the realm of ecology. Ecology is the science that deals with connections among living organisms and between organisms and their environments. Here's how stupid human beings are. A human being will move to a place that has no rabbits and say to himself, "You know what this place needs? Some rabbits. Rabbits would be fun to shoot." Then he'll bring in some rabbits. This sort of thing has happened repeatedly in human history, but right now I'm thinking of Thomas Austin bringing European rabbits to Australia in 1859. He thought rabbits would be fun for him and his friends to hunt in Australia. And they were. So what's the problem? Well, rabbits had no natural predators in Australia. Rabbits reproduce very rapidly. And many areas of Australia have moderate climates that allow rabbits to reproduce year-round. The rabbit population exploded so quickly that within 10 years, hunters could kill millions of them every year without noticing any effect on the rabbit population. Rabbits would invade an area and eat up all the vegetation, massive loss of plant species. Then the other animals that normally ate those plants wouldn't have any food. They couldn't compete with the rabbits, so loss of animal species. Rabbits would so thoroughly devastate all the vegetation that the topsoil would be exposed to wind and water erosion. So plants couldn't even grow back. It was an ecological disaster. What caused it? Rabbits? Not really. Superficial thinking caused the disaster. Notice, rabbits would be good for hunting, so let me bring some rabbits here. Simple thought. How difficult is it to follow up that simple thought with questions like, how rapidly will rabbits reproduce here? What do rabbits eat? What animals are currently eating what the rabbits are going to eat? Can these other animals compete with rabbits? Pretty easy questions that human beings don't bother to ask. Instead, we think, here's something I want, and not, how is what I want going to affect everything else and lead to destruction? What does this have to do with the new atheists? Easy. The new atheists aren't deeper thinkers than Thomas Austin. They think, I don't like religion, so let's get rid of it. I like atheism, so let's get more of it. And they pay no attention whatsoever to the extremely complex web of connections that they have just forever altered. The way ideas are connected in a society is very similar to the way organisms are connected in an ecosystem. And what's been happening in Western society over the past several decades, as every long-standing tradition or value is attacked, is the ecological equivalent of a forest fire. Destroying the religious and moral framework is like a forest fire. A forest has trees and other plants, birds, mammals, insects, and so on. The forest burns. The trees, which had been there for decades or centuries and provided stability to the ecosystem, burn. What replaces the trees that burn? Whatever weeds spread most rapidly. Again, I'm really talking about ideas. When the ideas and values that have been the bedrock of your society for centuries are suddenly destroyed, what replaces them? Whatever weeds spread most rapidly. So, the new atheists really thought that by setting their own forest on fire, some sort of utopia was going to magically emerge. Now they're staring at a bunch of weeds they can't control, wondering what went wrong. Second, although it was rare, some of the new atheists did occasionally think beyond the superficial, me no like Christianity, so me get rid of it, to consider the possible ramifications of getting rid of Christianity. Richard Dawkins, of all people, for many years has been saying things like, I have mixed feelings about the decline of Christianity insofar as Christianity might be a bulwark against something worse. He said that in 2010. In 2018, he warned in a tweet, before we rejoice at the death throes of the relatively benign Christian religion, let's not forget Hilaire Belloc's menacing rhyme, always keep a hold of nurse for fear of finding something worse. So, Dawkins recognized that Christianity may be doing something in society that's protecting people, even atheists, from something even worse than that terrible thing called Christianity. But that never stopped him from blasting away at Christianity, and now Western nations are in a competition to see how much worse can get. The most glaring worse is Islam, which Western nations seem completely incapable of stopping after Christians kept stopping it for 14 centuries. So, while the new atheists claim that they've been ridding the world of superstition, they've really been paving the way for the spread of Islam, and people are starting to notice. Third, the new atheism made some testable predictions. We're now in a position to test those predictions, and they didn't come true. What did the new atheists predict? Since Christianity is an obstacle to progress and science, getting rid of Christianity will lead to progress and more science. Replacing Christianity with atheism will make people more rational, more scientific, more noble. People becoming atheists will make society better. Let me ask, how is any Western nation better in any way thanks to the new atheism? Have Western nations become more rational, more scientific, more noble? No, Western nations are going completely insane. Millions of people becoming atheists didn't get us one step closer to a scientific utopia, but it got us 487 steps closer to a psychotic dystopia. So that's why the new atheism has lost its momentum. Superficial thinking, paving the way for Islam, and failed predictions. Now, I mentioned earlier that the epic failures of the new atheism give us the materials for two new arguments against atheism. We might call one the argument from inadequacy, or the argument from ineptitude, or the argument from incompetence. After more than 2 decades of massive cultural shifting towards atheism, it really seems that atheism is completely incapable of sustaining a society. All atheism does is destabilize a society so that the society is too weak to stand against dangerous ideas within that society and dangerous ideas coming to that society from outside. Here, one of you atheists might respond, "But David, even if atheism turns out to be bad for society, that doesn't mean it's not true." Not so fast. The driving force behind the new atheism was that religion is bad for society. It's harmful. That's what gave the new atheists their momentum. So what happens if atheism is bad for society? What if atheism is harmful? If atheism is bad for society, it's got to go, right? I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. We might call the other argument the argument from glaringly obvious spiritual rebellion. Again, from an atheistic perspective, it doesn't make much sense to care a whole lot about what other people believe unless it's harmful to you or to society. In other words, this person lives and dies as a Hindu, this person lives and dies as a Muslim, this person lives and dies as a Christian, this person lives and dies as an atheist. From an atheistic perspective, what does it matter? Why would you be obsessed with what other people believe, unless it's harming you or it's harming society? It makes no sense. So what happens when you find out that something is actually good for you, that it's actually protecting you, that it's actually protecting your society, and you attack it anyway? Take Richard Dawkins, for instance. Dawkins does not like Christianity, but Dawkins has understood for a very long time that Christianity possesses some sort of ability to protect a society from worse things. And what does Dawkins do? He attacks Christianity, removing the bulwark until he's overwhelmed by the worst things. Does that make any sense whatsoever? Let's get more specific. In his discussion with Ayaan Hirsi Ali about her conversion to Christianity, Ali said that she was so empty and depressed as an atheist, she didn't want to live. And she said that becoming a Christian made her want to live again.
I lived for about a decade with intense depression and anxiety, self-loathing. I hit rock bottom. I went to a place where I actually didn't want to live anymore, but wasn't brave enough to take my own life. And so I was self-medicating. Having reached a place where I had absolutely nothing to lose, I prayed, and I prayed desperately. And for me, that was a turning point. And what happened after that is a miracle in its own right. I feel connected to something higher and greater than myself. I feel my zest for life is back.
Dawkins heard his friend explain how Christianity gave her back her zest for life. Naturally, he responded by telling her how stupid Christianity is.
This is all obvious nonsense. This is all theological bull.
Now think about this. They're friends. Ayaan Hirsi Ali is friends with Richard Dawkins. Imagine your friend saying, "I was depressed and I didn't want to live until I believed in such and such. Now I'm happy." Would your instant reaction be to attack belief in such and such, knowing that it's the only thing keeping your friend from massive depression? Let's change the example so that it's something we would all regard as silly. Suppose you find your best friend on the ledge of a building. You say, "What are you doing?" She says, "Well, I was so miserable that I was about to jump. But then I saw this crystal by my feet, and I instantly knew that it's a magic crystal that gives me the power to keep going. As long as I believe in the power of this magic crystal, I'll always be happy." Would it make sense, as an atheist, to say to your friend, "What are you, stupid? There are no magic crystals. Get rid of that dumb rock, you idiot." Wouldn't you instead say to yourself, I think believing in magic crystals is really dumb, but if my friend's belief is somehow keeping her alive right now, I need to keep my mouth shut until I have a way of successfully replacing that crystal with something else that can keep her happy. So, if something you think is stupid, a magical crystal or Christianity, is somehow serving as a bulwark against something bad, your friend jumping off a building or your society being subjugated, it makes no sense at all to attack the bulwark until you come up with something else that can be the bulwark. But you have tons of atheists who realize that even though they don't like Christianity and don't believe in Christianity, Christianity is somehow a bulwark against worse things, and yet they can't stop attacking Christianity. It's as if atheists are saying, yes, if we get rid of Christianity, we're inevitably going to be subjugated by Islam or communism. But you know what? Totally worth it. We would rather be violently subjugated than be surrounded by Christians. And when you're that desperate to get Jesus as far away from you as possible, even though belief in Jesus should be irrelevant to you unless it's hurting you, kind of seems like a real problem is with Jesus rather than with religion or ideas you reject. The takeaway here is that some of you atheists, the ones who would gladly watch your society burn to the ground if it meant you'd never have to hear about Jesus, it really looks like you're in a kind of spiritual rebellion against Jesus, which is what Christians have been saying all along. Thanks for the cosign. So, that's where atheism is at right now. What's the future of atheism? Well, the new atheists made a bunch of promises they couldn't keep. They made a bunch of predictions that didn't come true. Western society may never fully recover from the damage done over the past 2 decades by atheists whose ideas spread like rabbits, or like a forest fire, choose your analogy. Future generations will look back on the new atheism as a catastrophic failure. From now on, when atheists say, you know what would make the world a better place if we all became atheists, the response is going to be, my goodness, just shut up. You clowns have no idea how to improve the world. If you want to be an atheist, then be an atheist, but don't pretend that you have the slightest clue how to make the world a better place. We gave you the chance, and you did irreparable harm. Atheists will never again be taken seriously when they start babbling about their scientific utopia. As for people who are atheists now, there are 3 main paths they can take. First, some atheists are going to leave atheism. They're going to say, I tried atheism. Once the brief feeling of superiority wore off, it left me empty, and it did nothing to improve the world, so I'm out of here. Second, there will be atheists who remain atheists, but they're going to calm down. They're not going to be evangelical about their atheism. They're going to return to the way atheists were before the new atheism. They won't care much what other people believe as long as it's not hurting them. Third, there will be atheists who try to bring back the glory days of the new atheism. It felt good going around saying, we're smart, we love science, everyone else is a religitard. You can teach any moron on the planet how to play skeptic and run around screaming, that's no evidence. You can't prove that to me. You can't prove that. And it makes people feel good. It makes people feel smart. It makes people feel like they're better than others. There are atheists who don't want to lose those feelings, so they'll keep trying to revive the movement. It won't work, but we're about to see some amazing cries for attention and some amazing displays of desperation. What does that mean for the future of atheism? Well, if Some atheists are going to leave atheism, and the atheists who try to revive the glory days are going to sound as sad as a 50-year-old who can't stop talking about what a great quarterback he was when he peaked in high school. The only respectable form of atheism will be the non-aggressive atheism we remember from the 1980s. That's my prediction. The gremlin is going to turn back into a mogwai. What are your predictions for the future of atheism? Share them now in the comments section so we can test them in the future, just like we tested the predictions of the new atheists. Hopefully, our predictions, unlike the predictions of the new atheists, won't leave us looking shallow, sloppy, and gullible.